and welcome to the Business Spotlight. A great show for you today. You're going to love this. My good friend, Michelle Barr, is, I want to say she's a coach, but that would be a way understatement because she's one of the best co-creators I think I've ever met. She has the talent to help, well, you get where you want to go. And when I say that, I have to tell you, it's in a way that very few others have that ability. She started as what I call a big mercy, and now she's a huge exhortation, which basically means she's a transformational coach. Thanks so much, Michelle.
Thank you.
I'm really excited about today's show. I want to get into your story because you started as in kind of the feeling world, so to speak, and now you've come to where you're changing lives. So tell me your story. What's the route?
My story is I came to that point where I realized I was creating my life by default. So I had the job, had gone to college, have the husband, the kids, the house, and the other pieces of my life didn't look that great. I was in a marriage that was not good. I had a lot of toxic environments and relationships around me, and I wanted to start creating my life a life that I loved. And it was a big shift for me. And I've always been a healer and a helper. And so I've had this journey of coming into that in different ways.
Now, you started in the mental health arena, didn't you?
Yes, I did. First, I was a mental health therapist. I went into hospital psychiatry, and while there, I wanted to bring in the spiritual aspect and really address that with people as part of these healing crises that people were going through. So then I went to seminary, and I became a hospital chaplain. And from there, I've moved into blending a mix of all of that so that I work with people on the physical, mental, emotional, and spiritual, and have made my way to now doing a lot of coaching, speaking, teaching.
That's one of the things I've been really excited about because you really take people through a very laser process that helps them break through the stuff and whatever that might be in any area of their life. The thing that I was so surprised with is that you started in what I'll call I want to say a spiritual dimension of ministering to people. Even to the point that you told me that even in the mental institutions, that people would calm down just because they were near you?
They did. I have a way of working with people and with their energy and really feeling people. And so I was known when I worked in the hospital in the psychiatric unit to go and talk to and be near the hostile or violent patients, and they would calm down.
Now, the one thing I've seen you do it in many places that we've been associated with, is that because you're such a merciful person, you are not just easily approachable, but that you can walk up to almost anybody and touch them in their spirit. And if you want to call it energetically, and if you want to call it you change people. And the longer they hang out with you, the more stuff that changes in their life. So tell me a story about somebody that you've been able to bring from one place to another.
I think what it is that I have an ability to get really deep with people and to go into those deep places with them. So for instance, I have a client who was just rocking and rolling along in her life, and then her husband died tragically. And that puts a whole new spin on your job isn't as important when you've got all these other things you're building in your life. And suddenly she was alone, no children. Her corporate job just started feeling like a prison to her. And she came to me because she needed to find her spirit again and her purpose. And she was facing, fairly young, all these years ahead of her. And we worked together in my 90 days to transformation to really dig in and have her reconnect with herself. And there's the transition, there was the time for grief, but also what is the joy there? How could she add that back into her life? And then people start transforming. A lot of people put transformation off for the future. When I show them how you can add little pieces of what you love, and then it starts growing and multiplying, and 90 days later your life looks very different.
Well, that's the thing that's been so surprising to me, is that you had that I call it spiritual bolt cutting capability. But it's interesting because it's not just the mental arena. it's the physical, it's the financial. I mean, you've helped people co-create amazing, amazing things. So what are some of the keys to creating even some of the financial freedom that people want?
What I find is money ends up being a big issue, and we have a lot of emotional and mental things around that. And there's a lot of mindset work. Overall, when people come to me, the basic thing is they're operating out of their patterns, their thoughts, their behaviors, and their beliefs. And they need to really get in touch with that and make that conscious. I always say what's unconscious is driving the bus anyway.
Right.
And so make it conscious. And whenever you start reaching for a dream or setting a big goal or intention, that's when all your stuff comes up. And then we have all this mental and emotional clutter. And we can't then get connected to that still small voice and that part of us that's really us. And so I help people connect to that and clean out that garbage so they can start living more authentically, on purpose, who they are.
That is huge. Well, folks, today's show, the Business Spotlight, is really giving you hopefully some tips and tools that you can use to begin to change what's up here and bring in what's in your heart to create massive success for yourself. We'll be right back.